Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to continue talking about writing task 1 for the IELTS test. This is part 4 in our writing task 1 series. And remember, the purpose of this video series is to help sort of give you a head start on how to do this and avoid the typical mistakes that students make, and try to aim for a higher score when you finally take the test. Or if you're not planning on taking the test, this is a great skill to know anyway, especially if you're working in a field that involves reporting data or reporting sales, or you want to get a job in that, okay? So today, the main thing that we're talking about is how to avoid repetition. And the reason we're doing that is because we're dealing with ranges of time when we talk about the writing task 1. And when we're talking about line graphs or line charts specifically, we're definitely going to be talking about time, all right? Let's look at this example, okay? This is the example that we're going to be eventually writing about. So we want to look here at some key information, all right? We already mentioned that we have percentages on the left, all right? This whole chart is a chart about the percentage of sales made online over a 2-year period. So I'd like you to imagine that you work for a company. That company has a website, and they sometimes sell things online. They also sell things offline. So what you're seeing here is a chart that shows what percentage of sales that month were made online through the website. So if I wanted to just start you off here, I would say, okay, well, let's start on the left. In January 2023, I see that 10% of sales were made online. Okay. And then what happened in February 2023? It looks like sales rose slightly, just a small increase, right? So sales rose slightly in February 2023. And then in March 2023, well, they rose slightly again. Okay, what's happening here is I'm pointing out point by point here. I'm describing these. Maybe some of them are so similar that you don't need to do that. So our next option would be to just say, okay, well, between January 2023 and April 2023, sales rose slightly, or sales rose steadily. Okay, that sounds good. But now what? Am I going to continue to say between April 2023 and June 2023, sales rose rapidly? Between June 2023 and August or September 2023, sales dipped slightly. If you see the problem here is that I'm using the same structures. I'm saying in January, in March, in October, or I'm saying from to, or between this and this, between. We don't want to use the same structure. We want to use some variety of structures. So instead of just using in or from to, we can use some other phrases. For example, we could say here, in the first quarter of 2023, the first quarter being the first 4 months of the year. How about during June to September? Okay, during here means the same as between. So during June to September 2023, something happened. How about through the summer of 2024? For example, I could say through the summer of 2024, sales rose rapidly. And as of or by December 2024, and this one is special. I'll tell you why in a moment. What about if we want to just look at the whole chart and divide it into 3 parts? We could say in the early phase, in the mid period, and in the final phase. I recommend looking at the chart this way when you're writing an overview, which we'll talk about later. And then I suggest using this kind of wording when we are when we're describing details in the or the second or third paragraph, depending on how you write it. All right. So let's talk about this last expression here, as of or by. So if we're talking about time here, and this is important, this writing task is talking about the year 2023 and 2024. It's 2025 this year. If you're watching this video in the future, hello. 2026, 2027, you'll be in the future. So 2023 and 2024 are always going to be in the past. So that means you should use past simple, past continuous, and past perfect verbs in this writing. As of or by December 2024 is an excellent way of forcing yourself to write a past perfect sentence, okay? So if I was using this, I would say as of December 2024. So this is now the last month. As of December 2024, sales had risen by 20% compared to January 2023, for example, okay? That's not an exact number, but you get what I mean. So if you want to compare how the data is different at the end of the year compared to the beginning of the first point or even that year, you could use past perfect. All right. Okay, guys, thank you again. We will continue with this series in the next video where we finally put all of this information together to write out what an introductory sentence, an overview sentence, and a body or detail sentence or paragraph would look like, okay? All right, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day, have a wonderful evening, have a wonderful morning. Catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.